My name is Rani Altani.
I am 28 years old. And on March 15, 2019, at exactly 6:47 in the morning, my own father lit the fire that was supposed to burn me alive. Let me take you back to that moment. The Saudi sun was already brutal at that hour, turning the private courtyard of our palace into an oven. The temperature was 38 degrees Celsius, but I could barely feel it over the terror coursing through my veins. I was tied to a wooden post, thick ropes cutting into my wrists and ankles. The smell of gasoline-soaked wood filled my nostrils. 50 members of my extended family stood in a semicircle, watching. Silent. Judging. Waiting for the flames to erase the shame I had brought upon the Althani name. My crime? A small black book with golden edges. A Bible. And my refusal to deny the man who loved me when no one else did. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you how a princess who had everything the world could offer became willing to lose it all for a love she couldn't see, touch, or prove to anyone. Because if you think my story is just about religious conversion, you've missed the point entirely. This is about what happens when the human soul finally finds what it was created for, even when that discovery costs you everything you've ever known. I was born into a golden cage. And golden cages are still cages. The Althani Palace in Riyadh wasn't just a home. It was a statement. 42 rooms of pure opulence. Marble floors imported from Carrara, Italy, so polished you could see your reflection as clearly as in a mirror. Chandeliers from France that cost more than most people earn in a lifetime, each crystal catching the light and throwing rainbow prisms across silk-covered walls. My bedroom alone was larger than many family homes, with a bathroom featuring gold-plated fixtures and a bathtub carved from a single piece of white onyx.
I wore dresses by Dior, Chanel, Valentino.
Custom-made. Flown in from Paris. My jewelry collection would make most women weep. Diamonds from South Africa. Rubies from Myanmar. Emeralds from Colombia. I had 7 different perfumes from Clive Christian, each bottle worth thousands of dollars. My closet looked like a high-end boutique. But here's what nobody tells you about wealth at that level.
You can own everything and still feel like you own nothing.
You can be surrounded by people every single day and still drown in loneliness. You can have your every physical need met instantly and still wake up at 3 a.m. with a scream trapped in your throat because you realize you're living in a prison you can't escape. I performed my Islamic duties flawlessly. 5 times a day, I would perform wudu, the ritual washing of hands, face, and feet that Muslims must complete before prayer. The water was always perfectly temperature-controlled, but it never washed away the emptiness inside. I would kneel on my prayer rug, an exquisite silk piece that cost $12,000, face Mecca, and recite the words I had memorized since childhood.
Allahu Akbar. Subhana Rabbi al-Adim.
The Arabic flowed from my lips automatically, but my heart was screaming a question I was too terrified to voice. Why do I feel absolutely nothing? Have you ever gone through the motions of something everyone tells you is supposed to bring peace, but all you feel is emptiness? Have you ever wondered if you're broken because you can't feel what you're supposed to feel? My father, Prince Abdul Al-Thani, was a man of tremendous influence. He advised the Ministry of Islamic Affairs, traveled in circles with the highest religious authorities in the kingdom.
Our family lineage traced back generations.
Purity of bloodline.
Purity of faith.
These were the pillars of our identity. To be an Al-Thani meant to be beyond reproach in matters of religion and tradition, which made what happened to me when I turned 19 even more devastating. His name was Faisal Al-Mansour. My cousin. Educated in London, handsome by conventional standards, from a compatible family. The marriage was arranged when I was 17 and finalized 2 years later in a wedding that cost over $3 million. 1,200 guests. A dress that weighed 40 pounds with its embroidery and jewels. A reception hall that looked like something from Arabian Nights fantasies. I thought maybe marriage would fill the void. I thought maybe this was the missing piece. I was wrong. Faisal was charming in public and cold in private. Within 6 months, he took a second wife. Within a year, a third. Polygamy is legal in Saudi Arabia, and for men of status, it's almost expected. But legal doesn't mean painless. I would lie in my section of our shared palace, hearing him with his other wives, feeling like a piece of furniture that had lost its novelty. He never hit me where bruises would show. He was too smart for that. But words can bruise the soul in ways that never heal without divine intervention. I had everything. And I had nothing. The breaking point came on a Tuesday night. I remember because it was laundry day, and even in our palace, some routines remained ordinary. I was in my bathroom, gold fixtures gleaming, designer makeup perfectly arranged, and I caught sight of myself in the mirror. I was 26 years old. I looked at least 35. My eyes were dead. I was wearing a $15,000 nightgown and holding a bottle of sleeping pills because it was the only way I could quiet my mind enough to rest. And I did something I had never done before. I spoke out loud to a God I wasn't sure was listening. If you exist, and if you actually care about me as more than just an object, as more than just a woman who's worthless compared to men, as more than just a body to be controlled and used, show me. Please. I'm begging you.
Show me you see me.
Nothing happened that night. But I had opened a door I didn't know existed. And someone was about to walk through it. 3 weeks later, a Filipino housemaid named Maria was cleaning my sitting room. We had 12 full-time staff, mostly from the Philippines and Indonesia. They were quiet, efficient, invisible by design. But Maria was different. There was something in her eyes. Peace.
Genuine. Unexplainable peace.
I had seen her get yelled at by my mother-in-law for trivial mistakes, watched her work 16-hour days, knew she was paid barely enough to send money home to her family, and yet she hummed while she worked. Actually hummed. Like she had a secret source of joy the rest of us couldn't access. One afternoon, while she was dusting the ornate side tables in my room, a small wooden cross fell from her pocket. It hit the marble floor with a soft click. She gasped, her face going pale, immediately dropping to her knees to retrieve it. Possessing Christian symbols in Saudi Arabia is illegal. If my family reported her, she could be deported at best, imprisoned at worst. Our eyes met.
Isauro fiariners.
But instead of calling for security, I heard myself whisper, I won't tell anyone. She clutched the cross to her chest, tears forming. Thank you, Princess Rania. Thank you. Why do you risk it? I asked. Why keep something that could get you in so much trouble? She looked at me for a long moment. Then, so quietly I almost couldn't hear, she said, because he sees me. When everyone else looks through me like I'm invisible, he sees me.
Jesus sees veritear. Princess.
Even yours. Before I could respond, she quickly finished her work and left. But her words echoed in my mind for days. Weeks.
Jesus sees veritear.
Even yours. I became obsessed. Who was this Jesus? I knew the Islamic version, of course. Isa, a prophet, born of Virgin Maryam, who would return before Judgment Day. But the way Maria said his name was different.
Personal.
Like she was talking about someone she actually knew. I started planning. 2 months later, I convinced Faisal I needed to go to London for shopping and spa treatments. It wasn't unusual. Wealthy Saudi women often traveled to London, Paris, Dubai for such things. He barely looked up from his phone when he approved the trip. I took 2 of our female relatives as chaperones, as required, and my security detail, and we flew first class to London. The afternoon of our second day there, I told my chaperones I was getting a massage at the hotel spa and would need 3 hours undisturbed. Instead, I put on Western clothes I had purchased, covered my hair with a simple scarf instead of my usual designer hijab, and slipped out a service entrance. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst through my chest. I had looked up Christian bookstores in London before the trip. There was one in Kensington, about 20 minutes by taxi.
I had never taken a taxi alone in my life.
I had never walked down a public street without security surrounding me. The freedom was intoxicating and terrifying in equal measure. The bookstore was small, tucked between a coffee shop and a clothing boutique. A bell chimed when I pushed open the door. The smell hit me immediately. Old paper. New paper. That specific scent of thousands of books in one place. An elderly British man with kind eyes looked up from behind the counter. Can I help you find something, dear? My mouth was dry. I'm looking for a Bible. In English. If he noticed my accent, my nervousness, the way my hands were shaking, he was gracious enough not to mention it. He simply smiled and led me to a wall of different translations. Any particular version? I had no idea what he was talking about. Which one explains who Jesus really is? His smile widened.
They all do, love.
But for someone just starting, I'd recommend the New International Version. Easy to read, accurate translation. He pulled down a black leather-bound Bible with gold-edged pages. It was smaller than I expected. This one's a classic.
I Pied in Kish.
He wrapped it in plain brown paper without me asking, like he understood. May it bring you the peace you're searching for. How did he know I was searching? Could he see it on my face? Could everyone tell I was dying inside? I got back to the hotel with 45 minutes to spare. I hid the Bible inside a designer fashion magazine I had purchased as cover. That night, while my chaperone slept in the adjoining suite and my security posted outside the door, I locked myself in the bathroom, turned on the shower to mask any sound, and opened the Bible for the first time. I had no idea where to start. I flipped pages randomly, my hands trembling. And then my eyes landed on words in the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verses 28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon me and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light.
I read those words once.
Twice. 3 times. And then I started sobbing so hard I had to shove a towel in my mouth to keep from being heard. Someone was offering rest. Someone was claiming to be gentle. Someone was saying the burden could be light. Everything in Islam felt like burden.
Rules upon rules. Fear upon fear.
One mistake and hellfire. Women worth half of men in testimony and inheritance.
Constant vigilance.
Constant anxiety about whether you were good enough, clean enough, obedient enough. And here were words offering rest.
Gentleness.
Ease. Could this be real? Or was this another beautiful lie designed to trap me? I read for 2 hours that night. I read about Jesus healing the sick. Touching lepers everyone else avoided. Talking to women everyone else dismissed.
Forgiving prostitutes.
Challenging religious authorities who put heavy burdens on people.
Standing up for the weak.
I read about him dying, willingly, to pay for sins he didn't commit.
And then rising from the dead 3 days later.
In Islam, we believe Jesus didn't actually die on the cross, that God substituted someone else at the last moment because it would be beneath Allah's prophet to suffer that way. But as I read the accounts in Matthew, Mark, Luke and John, a question kept burning in my mind. What if he did die? What if he chose to die? What if God loved people so much he became human and suffered the worst death imaginable to bridge the gap between holy and broken? What if that kind of love was actually real? Have you ever had a moment where truth hits you so hard you can't deny it even though accepting it will cost you everything?
Have you ever known something in your soul before your mind could catch up?
I flew back to Riyadh 3 days later with a Bible hidden inside a hollowed-out fashion book. Getting through customs was the most terrifying 15 minutes of my life. If they found it, I would be arrested. My family would be scandalized. Everything would be over. But the customs officer barely glanced at my luggage, waved me through. I whispered a prayer to Jesus under my breath, my first prayer to him, asking for protection. And I made it through. For the next 8 months, I lived a double life. By day, I was the perfect Muslim princess. I wore my hijab and abaya in public, elegant and modest as required. I attended mosque for important occasions. I performed my 5 daily prayers where people could see me. I smiled at family gatherings. I played the role I had been trained for since birth. But between 2 and 4 a.m., when even the servants were asleep and Faisal was usually with one of his other wives, I would lock my bedroom door, hide in my walk-in closet, and read the Bible by phone light. I started with the New Testament, devouring the Gospels. Then Acts. Then the letters of Paul. Every word felt like water to someone dying of thirst. I learned about grace.
Un earned favor.
The idea that you couldn't work your way to God, that He came to you instead. I learned about adoption into God's family, that you could call the Creator of the universe, Father, not in fear but in intimacy. I learned about the Holy Spirit, God's presence actually living inside believers. I learned that women were valued, loved, full image bearers of God with purpose and calling. Everything I had been taught about Christianity was wrong. It wasn't a corrupted religion. It wasn't a Western invention. It was the fulfillment of everything the human heart longed for and could never achieve on its own. 3 months into my secret reading, something happened that I still can't fully explain. I was reading in the book of John, chapter 10, where Jesus says, I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep and my sheep know me, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And suddenly, my locked closet filled with light.
Not the blue light from my phone.
Pure, white, warm light that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I looked up and I saw him. I know how this sounds. I know you might think I hallucinated or dreamed or created this in my desperate mind. But I know what I saw. Jesus stood in front of me, and he was wearing a robe so white it made my eyes hurt, and his eyes were full of a love I had never experienced from any human being. He didn't speak out loud, but I heard his voice in my mind, in my heart, in the deepest part of my soul. Rania, my daughter, I have loved you before the foundation of the world. You are mine. You have always been mine. I fell face first on the closet floor, weeping. Not from fear. From overwhelming relief.
Someone knew my name. Someone called me daughter.
Someone had loved me before I was born. All the striving, all the emptying, all the breaking was leading me here to this moment where I finally understood I was seen, known, loved completely, not because of anything I had done but because of who he was. When I looked up, the light was gone. But the presence remained. I felt wrapped in peace like a blanket. And I whispered my first real prayer to Jesus as my Lord. I don't know what this means for my life. I don't know what this will cost. But I'm yours. Completely yours. I choose you. I believe you died for me and rose again.
I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you love me. Come into my life. Make me yours.
The Quran teaches that Allah is merciful and compassionate, but distant, unknowable, His will mysterious and often harsh.
But Jesus was standing in my closet.
Jesus was calling me daughter. Jesus was close enough to touch. How do you go back to normal after that? You don't. I couldn't. But I tried. I kept up appearances. I had to. In Saudi Arabia, apostasy leaving Islam is punishable by death according to Sharia law. Even within my powerful family, maybe especially within my powerful family, rejecting Islam for Christianity was unthinkable. It would bring shame that could never be washed away. So I pretended. I kept praying to Allah in public while talking to Jesus in private. I wore my hijab while my heart was being transformed from the inside out. But secrets have a way of surfacing. And the truth is, once you've tasted real freedom, it becomes harder and harder to pretend you're still in chains. I found an underground online community of ex-Muslim Christians, mostly from other Middle Eastern countries. We communicated through encrypted apps, using fake names. They warned me. If you're discovered, run immediately. Don't wait. Don't try to explain. Just run. I started making plans. I quietly moved money into accounts my husband didn't know about. I researched asylum laws in Christian-majority countries.
I mapped out escape routes.
But I made one fatal mistake. I got comfortable. I thought I was being careful. I thought I had covered my tracks. I didn't realize that Faisal, suspicious of my growing emotional distance and occasional unexplained joy, had installed spyware on my phone 3 months earlier. He was monitoring everything. Every search.
Every message.
Every photo. Including the photos I had taken of Bible verses I wanted to remember.
The confrontation came on a Wednesday evening.
I was in my sitting room, reading a book on interior design, when Faisal walked in. The moment I saw his face I knew. His jaw was clenched. His eyes were cold with rage. He was holding his phone.
You lying, triakerusor.
His voice was quiet. That was worse than yelling. How long have you been betraying your family? Your faith? Your husband? My heart stopped. I don't know what you're talking about. He crossed the room in 3 steps and grabbed my hair, yanking my head back.
Pain shot through my scalp. Don't lie to me.
I've been reading your messages for months.
I've seen everything. The Bible verses.
The Christian websites. The chats with other apostates. He spat the word. My wife is a kafir. An infidel. Do you have any idea what this means? I made a choice in that moment. I could deny everything, beg for mercy, recant, go back into hiding. Or I could tell the truth.
Something rose up in me.
A courage that wasn't my own.
Jesus Christ is the Son of God.
He died for my sins and rose from the dead. He loves me. And I love him. I won't deny him.
Faisal has fist at my face before he saw it coming.
I crashed into the side table, porcelain lamps shattering around me. Blood filled my mouth. He stood over me, breathing hard. We'll see how long your devotion lasts. He pulled out his phone and made a call. We have a situation. It's Rania.
Get the family together.
And call Prince Abdul. Tell him it's urgent. He looked down at me with disgust. Your father is going to hear what his precious daughter has become. Within 2 hours, I was locked in a guest room in the isolated west wing of the palace, the kind of room used for servants or distant relatives.
No windows. One door, locked from the outside.
Guards posted. My phone was confiscated. I was alone with stone walls and my own thoughts. And for the first time since my conversion, I felt genuine fear. Not fear of death necessarily, but fear that I might not be strong enough for what was coming. I prayed. Jesus, I meant what I said. I'm yours. But I'm so scared. Help me. Please. That night, my father arrived. Prince Abdul Al Thani was not a man who showed emotion easily. He was dignified, controlled, powerful. But when the door to my prison opened and he walked in, I saw something I had never seen before in his eyes.
Fury.
Mixed with something that might have been pain. Or maybe disappointment so deep it looked like grief. Is it true? His voice could have cut glass. Is it true that you have rejected Islam?
That you follow the religion of the cross?
I stood up. My face was still swollen from Faisal's punch. Father, answer the question. His shout echoed off the stone walls. Do you or do you not claim to follow Jesus as God?
Every instinct screamed at me to lie.
To say it was a misunderstanding. To say I was confused. To buy time. But I looked into my father's eyes, and I knew that lying would only delay the inevitable. Yes.
I believe Jesus is the Son of God.
I believe he died for my sins and rose again. I follow him. The slap came so fast I didn't have time to brace. My father had never hit me before. Never. His handprint burned on my cheek. You have brought unspeakable shame upon this family.
Do you understand what you've done?
I advise the Ministry of Islamic Affairs. Our name is synonymous with religious purity. And my daughter has become an apostate.
Jesus loves me, Father.
More than anyone in this family ever has. His eyes went cold.
You will recant. Tomorrow morning, in front of the family, you will make shahada again.
You will declare that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his prophet.
You will burn another Bible in front of Stati Uniti.
You will denounce your heresy. And then you will be sent to live in exile. You'll never see Saudi Arabia again, but you'll be alive.
And if he refuse?
The silence stretched between us like a chasm. Then you will die as a traitor to Islam. And your death will serve as a warning to anyone else who might consider such evil. Could you do it? Could you publicly deny the one who saved your soul to preserve your physical life? Could you burn a Bible knowing it was the book that set you free? I couldn't.
I wanted any Jesus.
Not even to save my life. My father stared at me like I was a stranger. Then he turned and walked out. The lock clicked behind him. And I was alone again, but this time with a certain knowledge that my father was willing to kill me. 3 days passed. 3 days of isolation in that stone room with only a prayer rug, a bottle of water, and stale bread. No one spoke to me. No one came except to deliver the minimal food and water. I prayed constantly. I recited Bible verses I had memorized. I sang worship songs I had learned from YouTube videos I had watched in secret.
Amazing grace, sweet the sound, that saved a wretch like me. On the third night, I broke.
Not my faith, but my courage. I started questioning. Was I being stubborn? Was I being prideful? Would Jesus really want me to die like this? Couldn't I just go through the motions of recanting and follow him in my heart? Didn't Jesus himself say the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak? I paced that room like a caged animal. Jesus, I meant everything I said.
I'd rather die with you than live without you.
But I'm so afraid.
I don't want to die. I'm only 28.
I don't want to burn. Please, if there's any other way, show me.
Show me your power. Show me your real.
Because right now, I feel completely alone. And then peace came. Supernatural peace that made no logical sense. It was like warm oil being poured over my head, running down my whole body, soaking into my bones. I felt Jesus so close it was like he was in the room with me. And I heard that voice again, not audible but undeniable. I am with you.
I will never leave you. Whatever comes, I am with you.
Trust me. I slept that night. Deep, dreamless sleep. When I woke up, I felt ready. Ready for whatever was coming. The door opened at 6:30 a.m. March 15th, 2019. 4 guards stood outside. Come with us. They led me through corridors I had walked my entire life, but everything looked different. Sharper. More vivid. Like I was seeing with new eyes. We went down, through the main palace, out into the private courtyard. The sun was just rising, already hot.
The sky was clear. Not a cloud anywhere.
And in the center of the courtyard stood a wooden post.
12 feet tall.
Wood stacked around the base.
The smell of gasoline hung in the air.
50 members of my extended family stood watching. Aunts. Uncles.
Cousins.
Faisal was there. His face expressionless. Several religious sheiks in white robes stood to one side. And in the front, standing beside the post with a torch already lit in his hand, was my father.
Rani Altani.
His voice carried across the courtyard. Formal now, ritualistic. You have been convicted by Family Council of apostasy, the worst crime a Muslim can commit. You have rejected Allah. You have followed foreign gods. You have brought shame upon the name of Al-Thani. You have one final opportunity to repent, make shahada, and accept exile. Or you will be executed as an example. What is your choice? Every eye was on me. The morning birds had gone silent. The only sound was the crackling of the torch and my own heartbeat in my ears. I choose Jesus Christ. I will not deny him. A collective gasp rippled through the assembled family. One of the sheiks shouted, "She is possessed by demons. Burn her."
The guards dragged me to the post.
Rough hands tied thick ropes around my wrists behind the post, then around my ankles.
The rope cut into my skin.
The wood beneath my feet reeked of gasoline. I could feel the heat radiating from the torch my father held. This was real. This was actually happening. My father walked toward me. For a moment, just a moment, I saw hesitation in his eyes. Please, Rania. Please just say the words. Just say them. You don't have to mean them. Just say them and this stops.
Tears ran down my face.
Not from fear of death, but from grief for him.
Father, Jesus loves you too.
Even now. Even after all this. He loves you. Please, before it's too late, turn to him. His face hardened.
The hesitation vanished.
So be it. He turned to the assembled family. Witness that I, Prince Abdul Al-Thani, execute justice according to the law of Allah. May this fire cleanse the shame from our family. He lowered the torch to the gasoline-soaked wood. The flames caught instantly. Orange and yellow fire leaping upward. Hungry, crackling.
It blasted my legs.
Smoke filled my nostrils. This was it. This was how I would die. Burned alive by my own father for loving Jesus. But something rose up in me. Not panic. Not despair.
Joy.
Actual joy. Because I was dying for the one who had died for me. I was counted worthy to suffer for his name. And I knew with absolute certainty, that the moment the fire took my life, I would open my eyes in paradise with Jesus.
Jesus, I love you. He shouted over the flames. Jesus, I love you.
Thank you for saving me.
Thank you for loving me.
And then it happened.
Wind. From absolutely nowhere.
The sky was completely clear, not a cloud, not a hint of a breeze a moment before. But suddenly wind roared through the courtyard like a freight train. It had to be 120 kilometers per hour, maybe more.
It hit like a physical force.
People screamed. Bodies were thrown backward. My father stumbled, dropping the torch. The flames that had been reaching toward my legs were snuffed out in an instant. Completely extinguished. Just smoke and ash. But the wind didn't stop. It kept howling, spinning around the courtyard like a cyclone. Dust and sand whipped into the air, blinding everyone. I could barely see through it, but I saw my father on his hands and knees, terror on his face. I saw the sheiks covering their heads, shouting prayers to Allah. I saw family members running for the palace doors. And the sky went dark. In the middle of the morning, with the sun fully risen, the sky turned black as midnight.
Unnatural darkness, thick and heavy, pressing down.
I was still tied to the post, but I wasn't afraid. I started laughing. laughing and crying at the same time. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. And then I felt heat at my wrists. Not from fire.
From the ropes.
They were burning, but I wasn't. The ropes around my wrists were disintegrating like they were being consumed by invisible flames, falling away to ash. Then the ropes on my ankles did the same. I was free. The wind was still raging.
The sky was still dark.
And I heard my father's voice screaming above the chaos. Stop!
Stop the execution.
The God of the Christians is real. He is protecting her. Let her go. Let her go. I stumbled away from the post.
Through the supernatural wind and darkness, he ran.
I had no plan. I just ran toward the courtyard gate. And there, impossibly, a car was waiting.
Engine running. Driver has the door open.
It was Dawit, our Ethiopian driver, a quiet man who had worked for our family for 10 years. I had never known he was a Christian. Get in, Princess Rania.
Nah. Jesus sent me.
I had a dream last night showing me exactly where to wait. I threw myself into the passenger seat. He hit the gas before I even closed the door. We sped through the palace grounds.
In Stati Uniti, the wind was still howling, the sky still dark.
We could hear shouting chaos. How did you know? I gasped.
Jesus spoke to me in a dream.
He showed me this exact morning. He told me to bring my car, keep the engine running, wait at the east courtyard gate. He said you would come running and I was to take you to the safe house. Tears were streaming down his face as he drove.
I've been a secret Christian for 15 years, princess.
I've been praying for you for 8 months. Other servants told me they thought you had found Jesus. We've been praying for your escape. He drove like a man possessed, taking back roads, avoiding main checkpoints. We reached a safe house in the outskirts of Riyadh by mid-morning. From there, an underground network of Christians, people I never knew existed, smuggled me across the border hidden in a delivery truck. Within 48 hours, I was in Jordan. Within a week, I had asylum protection and was on a plane to a Western country I cannot name for security reasons. I've been free for 5.5 years now. My family has disowned me. I can never go back to Saudi Arabia. There is likely still a fatwa calling for my death. But I am free.
Free in Christ.
Free in a way I never imagined possible when I was sleeping on silk sheets in a golden palace. And here's what I want you to understand. The fire didn't kill me. The fire became my testimony. My father meant to burn away the shame I brought to the family name. But God used that fire to demonstrate his power, to set me completely free, and to create a story that would reach you right now, today, wherever you are. I now run an underground ministry for Muslim women trapped in situations like mine. We operate through encrypted channels. We distribute digital Bibles in Arabic, Farsi, Urdu. We have a network of safe houses across the Middle East. In the last 5 years, we've helped over 200 women escape religious persecution and start new lives following Jesus. We've connected with secret believers in Saudi Arabia, Iran, Pakistan, Afghanistan. We're seeing Muslims encounter Jesus in dreams and visions just like I did. The gospel is unstoppable. Even in the places where following Jesus costs you everything. So let me ask you something. What is your fire? What is the impossible situation you're facing that makes you think God can't reach you? What is the cage you're living in, whether it's made of gold like mine was or made of poverty, addiction, abuse, depression, shame, or fear? If Jesus can stop literal fire from consuming a Saudi princess, he can handle your impossible situation. If Jesus can send supernatural wind to save someone condemned to death, he can intervene in your crisis. If Jesus can orchestrate a rescue involving secret believers, dreams, and asylum across international borders, he can make a way where you see no way. The question isn't whether Jesus has the power to save you. He does. The question is whether you're willing to surrender completely to him, regardless of the cost. I lost my family.
I lost my country.
I lost my wealth and status.
I lost my name and my identity.
But I gained everything that actually matters. I gained a relationship with the God of the universe who calls me daughter. I gained purpose that will echo into eternity. I gained joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. I gained freedom that no human authority can ever take away. Was it worth it?
1,000,000 times yes.
Maybe you're watching this video and you're Muslim, and something in my story is resonating with your own quiet questions.
Let me tell you, Jesus sees you.
He knows your name. He understands the cost. And he is worth it. Worth the rejection. Worth the loss.
Worth everything.
He will never leave you. He will never forsake you. And his love is more real than anything you've ever experienced. Or maybe you're already a Christian, but you've been playing it safe. You haven't been willing to risk anything for Jesus. Your faith costs you nothing, which means it might not be real faith at all. Let my story challenge you. If a Saudi princess can lose everything for Christ, what's stopping you from fully surrendering your comfortable life to him? Jesus said, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for me will find it."
I lost my life.
And I found real life for the first time. The flames were meant to destroy me. Instead, they became the forge where my testimony was shaped. The fire that was supposed to end my story became the beginning of the greatest adventure of my life. God took the worst thing my enemies could do to me and turned it into the most powerful weapon for his kingdom. That's what he does. He specializes in impossible situations. He turns crucifixions into resurrections. He turns Red Seas into pathways. He turns lions' dens into protection. He turns fiery furnaces into places where he walks with you. And he turned my execution into my liberation. Right now, wherever you are, Jesus is extending the same invitation he extended to me in that London hotel bathroom when I first read his words. "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest."
You don't have to carry your burden alone anymore.
You don't have to pretend everything is fine when you're dying inside. You don't have to live in a golden cage or any other kind of cage. Jesus is calling your name right now.
Not the name your family gave you.
Not the name your culture imposed on you.
Not the name your shame whispers to you.
Your real name. The name he's been calling since before you were born. Beloved. Daughter.
Son.
Mine. Will you answer? Will you risk everything to gain everything that actually matters? I did. And I would do it again 1,000 times. Because knowing Jesus, truly knowing him, being loved by him, walking with him, serving him is worth infinitely more than palaces, wealth, status, family approval, or even life itself. The fire didn't consume me.
It set me free.
And Jesus wants to set you free too. Whatever your fire is, he's bigger. Whatever your cage is, he has the key. Whatever your impossible situation is, he specializes in impossibilities.
My name is Rani Altani. I am a daughter of the King of Kings.
And my testimony is this. Jesus Christ is real, his love is unstoppable, his power is unlimited, and he is absolutely worth losing everything to gain. The flames tried to silence me. Instead, they gave me a voice that will echo into eternity. And now I'm using that voice to tell you. Jesus sees you.
Jesus loves you. Jesus is calling you.
And following him is the only decision you'll never regret.
Come to the fire. Let it burn away everything false.
And discover that on the other side of the flames, Jesus is waiting with arms wide open, ready to give you the life you were always created to live.
A life of freedom. A life of purpose. A life of genuine, unshakable joy.
That's my testimony.
That is my story.
And if God can write this kind of story in the life of a Saudi princess condemned to burn, imagine what he wants to write in your life. The question is, will you let him?